Since a lot of you are apparently interested in the way I draw hands, I figure it would be fun to make a short video just showing myself drawing a single hand. And this is actually something I enjoy doing quite a lot. There's a lot of practice involved, obviously. Hands are a very complex thing to draw. But once you have some intuition for how these things tend to work, then it becomes very, very satisfying. You'll notice I am starting over multiple times here, and that's because my process, like a lot of amateur artists, involves a lot of, I don't want to say trial and error, because I kind of do know what I'm doing. I'm not experimenting with new techniques, but I am attempting to replicate the technique that I have already sort of established for myself. The hardest part of drawing a hand for me is definitely the fingernails, because it's hard to just subtly enough imply the existence of fingernails with very delicate line strokes without making it seem as if they are the centerpiece of the drawing. And then that lands the work firmly in the uncanny valley. Okay, so you'll see here, this is just a simple drawing of a hand grasping a rod of some kind. I really like paying attention to the way fingers sort of splay out in various different poses. So suddenly here you can see that the index finger is slightly more parallel to the rod than the little finger here in the end. And I don't know, studying poses of hands grasping things or pointing or, whatever else, studying the angles of those fingers can really help you build sort of a kinesthetic intuition for how hands tend to work. And another thing, a very important thing that I learned about drawing hands, this area right here, where the thumb joins the palm, is the key to making a nice looking hand. You need to make sure you make this large enough, round enough, joining at the specific right place. Obviously, I'm not a prescriptionist. You're allowed to draw however you like, but this is how I tend to draw things that satisfy me. So I'm gonna ink this drawing real quick. Interesting, well, I'm not gonna say it is interesting because that would maybe be egotistical, but a fact about the way I tend to ink. I put a lot of wobble in my lines because I care very, very much about texture in my drawings. Texture is very, very important to me. And when it comes to something, especially like skin is not smooth. It can be, technically smooth, quotation marks, but it's never uniform. There are wrinkles, there are pores, there is hair, and you don't have to draw every wrinkle or every hair or every pore individually. Implication is a very, very powerful tool. Let me just draw this rod here. I like making the strokes heavier on certain things because it helps create a contrast between one object and another. It's also a nice way to make lighting, obviously, but I'm not caring too much about that right now. So here's a very simple hand grasping a rod. Now I'll very, very light strokes to indicate wrinkles, light shadow, and I'll completely fill this one in. Contrast is very helpful in making lighting. Stark contrast really, really helps communicate depth in a drawing. Hatch that in there. There, okay. I am satisfied with this very simple drawing of a hand here. And to top it off, if I can find, oh, here it is. Here's my brush. I will fill it in with just a little bit of color. I like using only a single color in a lot of my paintings because it keeps it very efficient. I'm not communicating anything more than I feel like I have to. And I like using very light, delicate brush strokes, almost just peppering the page with the paint. Just like that. And as soon as that dries, it'll look a little less bulbous, you know. But yeah, that is generally how I draw a hand. I didn't go super in depth on my technique, but I hope this was interesting.